Welcome to the Women Talk Construction podcast, where we are so excited to be adding more women and students to the construction industry. I'm here today with my co-host, Angela Gardner, and what an awesome guest we have today with Andersen Windows. And I just have to put a plug in for Andersen Windows. I sold windows for 26 years, and they were my favorite manufacturer of windows to sell because their customer service was amazing. So Tammy, thank you for that. There's a lot of great window manufacturers out there, but I do love Andersen, and we're so happy to have you here today. Tammy, tell the audience just a little bit about you and what you do and your new leadership role and I say new, I've been in a leadership role with 84 for 4.5 years, and it still feels new. So, talk a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, what Andersen's doing, and, just let our audience know who you are.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Christi. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. So we have this in common because I love Andersen too. So Tammy Murray, I am an area sales manager with Andersen Windows, focused on the Philadelphia area, which encompasses the Jersey Shore down into Philadelphia proper, and then also stretches over what we call Southern Pennsylvania, from York all the way over to Pittsburgh. So it has been an honor to lead the most amazing team. And
Nice.
So I've been in leadership for just shy of 3 years. Prior to that, I was with Andersen, but I was in an individual contributor role. And I did that for almost 8 years in Northern New Jersey prior to stepping into leadership. So it's
nice.
Been quite an exciting venture. No day is ever the same, which I love. And so just a lot of flexibility. Like I said, really great team, really a lot of support as well. So it's an awesome journey. And then prior to Andersen, I was on the decorative side of the business. So I was more on the plumbing side and
nice
pieces. So it's been just about shy of 20 years now, believe it or not, that I've been in this wonderful construction industry. It goes fast.
It does go really fast. And there's never a dull moment on any day in any role in the industry, which is exciting for me. That's what keeps me going.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
agreed.
yeah. Well, this is the topic Christi and I talk about a lot is that, and I'm sure you've talked about it, is the need for workers in our industry and how we need 500,000 by a certain, it's probably even changed.
It has.
Yes. So, and that's always such a big thing. So, how do you see the construction industry, becoming more inclusive to attract and retain more of a diverse workforce or just a workforce period? But it's going to take it's going to take a lot of people. So, with a lot of people retiring as well. How do you see that?
Yes. So you are right in my lane because, it's what you said is very, very true. And so for me, I've always viewed our industry in two buckets. I believe there's a trade side of the business where you can actually pick up the hammer and do the manual work. But then there's the business side, which is more focused on strategy and leadership and things of that nature. So like I mentioned, it's been a little over 20 years and I didn't even know the capacity of all the incredible opportunities, professionally and personally that there would be. So I guess to answer your question, our industry can be more inclusive by leading with awareness. I think sharing stories of both buckets, the trade side and the strategy side, and understanding that there's really deep pools of opportunities the more you become ingrained with the industry.
So I've noticed a lot of companies, larger companies, and actually mid-size and small for that matter, that are focusing a little differently on training. Tell us how Andersen is doing in their pursuit of training the next individuals that are coming in, and how does it look different because we are seeing a diverse talent force?
That's a great question. And I would say two things. Andersen is a company of preparation and always looking to the future. And so this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I'm very, very passionate about workforce development. Again, just sharing
Nice.
awareness about our industry with others is just really important. And it's not because folks are retiring at a very rapid pace, but because of some of those retirements, there's so much room for growth opportunities at an equally rapid pace. So, when I think about what I wanted to do as a profession and the options were presented to me, it was go to college, right?
Right.
We missed about 2 to 3 decades of promoting different opportunities like trade schools and other avenues of education to lure young people and women in. So, the role of education and training programs should play is just simply promotion of our industry. I think we have to get creative on how we promote.
Mm-hmm.
I think that being at the grassroots level by participating in career days at elementary or intermediate schools or even high schools, just to show the breadth of opportunities is really, really important. And I also think that people that may even think they might have a little bit of interest in our industry should ask to shadow folks if a career looks
Yes.
interesting. Just, people that love what they do don't have a problem with sharing it. So
They'll be opened with welcome arms, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that are just listening, the book that's in the background of Tammy's video on YouTube is The House That She Built.
Yes.
And the Professional Women in Building, NAHB, 84 Lumber, Andersen Windows, we've been very focused on supporting that book and reading that to children in schoolrooms. So thank you, Tammy, for your love of the workforce like us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's equally, if you've ever had the opportunity to meet the author, Molly Elkman, she's so
amazing.
Inspiring and
Yes.
so amazing. I think that's my signed book from her, if I remember right. So.
We were fortunate enough to have her on the podcast, last year or year before last? She was one of our first guests with Judy Donnell. Actually, both of them were on. Yeah. So they were great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So a lot of the barriers are breaking down right now, and we see it, but there's still, room for more. What do you see as some of the biggest barriers for women entering and advancing in the construction field?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mentioned in the beginning, I had a taste of both sides of the business, the decorative side, and then most recently with windows and doors. And I think about my journey and I knew nothing. I didn't know a shower rough from a rough opening in a window, right? But there were two things that were really true for me. The one thing is that I had the desire to learn and the passion to learn. And when you have determination to just go ahead and learn and not lose, and you get 100%, you ask a lot of questions and you work hard, I think it's a natural, and it will work out.
The barriers just start breaking away, right? Like there aren't any when you have that kind of mindset. I love that you said that, Tammy.
Absolutely. And I think the second thing is that I had really incredible male allies that have really taken time in every stage in my journey to just mentor me and help me advance, because maybe they saw things in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. And so there might be a stigma that you can't learn this. That's one of the biggest things, right? Because there's so many people that have tribal knowledge in our industry. And that's true, but that doesn't mean you can't learn. And that doesn't mean people can't learn from you, because everybody had to start from somewhere. So just being okay with taking the journey, because you won't learn everything at once. I'm still learning. Almost 2 years in, I'm still learning. So
every day.
Every day keeps it interesting and fun, right?
It does keep it interesting. So speaking of keeping it interesting, what ways we're asking for a piece of advice here from Women Talk Construction. In what ways can storytelling on our podcast inspire or guide young people considering a career in construction? Like what can we do better? Like not just us on the podcast, obviously, to our audience of leaders or owners that are listening right now.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Well, one of the things I learned really early on is that this industry is very slow to change. And so mostly the slow to change is because you can have a really long, robust career in our industry. And there's a lot of really deep multi-generational businesses and relationships
Mm-hmm.
that are very important. But I think it's about seeing different ways and making a focused effort to connect with a younger generation. So even like this podcast,
Yes.
right? I mean, I think about when I first came into the industry, how dealer partners wanted to do everything print marketing, right? Everything was all
Yes.
and you couldn't do anything else if it wasn't print. Okay, now we're moving on to
We're moving on.
moving on to
And print is still good.
Yes,
It's still good.
it is.
But it has its place, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And just being flexible to just be able to try different things and meet people where they are, I think is really, really important.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you shared earlier about the male allies because, Christine, I think that's really important that that's talked about because they are out there and
Yeah.
they don't realize how much they help us
Yes.
by just
Right.
doing that.
Yes.
So,
We were just
So-
able to be on a TEDx recently, and it's not out yet. It's coming.
Okay.
And one of our topics in that very short TEDx is allyship and how important it is to, for people like us to stay in the industry for 30 years or 20
right.
years, or, it's really important.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I know when I talk about my allyship, it is from the time I walked in the door, right? I know
Absolutely.
oh, that's awesome
with
to hear.
initiatives and wanting to learn and grow. I know it was me, but it was also them. It was
Yes.
saying, I see something in you, let's do this. And
Yeah.
and
What do you need?
and that's it. What do you need? And no one's ever said no. I'll just say that anyone that I've ever asked for help or support has never said no.
That's amazing.
Career. So it's a really good testament if you just put yourself out there and you just ask,
Do the work.
do the work, right?
Show up.
That's it. That's my motto. Show up.
And guess what? They have a dedicated employee for life, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
or family, if that's how you call it there. I
It-
don't know. Your work family.
Right. You are exactly right. My work family is huge.
Yeah. So what advice would you give someone? Because, Christy and I always have, women, some men that ask us for advice if they're either changing a career into our industry or who knows what to wear on a job site.
Mm-hmm.
But what advice would you give to a young woman or a woman even wanting to enter our industry?
That is a beautiful question. And I'll tell you this. I would have never imagined 20 years ago the personal fulfillment that I've experienced within this industry. I mean, from the deep relationships with my peers, with customers,
Amen.
industry contacts. I mean, just all of the developmental opportunities that I've had that I continue to have. It's just also very encouraging that I've only just begun to scratch the surface on where I can go. And so my advice would be keep an open mind about our industry. There's all the same opportunities there will be in any other industry, right? So whether it's sales or marketing or technology or manufacturing, there's so many different opportunities. And I love the flexibility of our industry, right? And so what I mean is that there's more than one way to accomplish a goal. And some of the success that I've had has been about being creative and not being afraid to try something new, like this podcast, right? So,
Amen. Yes.
I mean, sometimes if you just kind of look outside the box and you stretch yourself past the limits that you think are possible, you have faith, there is just such a beautiful opportunity here within the construction industry. And I certainly see myself retiring here. There's no doubt about it. So I think the big important thing is that this industry has room for your gifts and your creativity.
Absolutely.
And you, as long as you get it done, it doesn't really matter how you get there.
I have to add to that. Tammy and Angela and I talked about this before the podcast started. And Tammy wanted to know how Angela and I met. And I know we haven't talked about this a lot, probably since our intro.
Yeah.
And Angela and I met because I was thinking about getting out of sales in a small region and jumping into a role that I'm in now. And I was scared. And I reached out to her, didn't know her at all. And, a few months later, we decided that it was really important for us to start a podcast, thinking that it would be in our living room for the rest of our lives, talking to our friends. We're now in 75 countries, which could have never happened without our faith, without our passion, without us knowing there were no barriers, right? Instead of thinking that there were. Yeah. And now we'll be 3 years having a podcast that's really making an impact on our workforce. And the guests,
yourself, Tammy.
And the people that we've been able to meet and inspire. It's not us. Angela and I have these great people on because we love what they can inspire in others. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. It's really important for you, if you're listening and you're not in our industry, think about all the options you have. Not just in construction, in industrial, and in manufacturing. There doesn't have to be a barrier. So that was the point I was trying to make. Like, I could have talked myself out of this podcast. So could Angela, because neither one of us wanted to be on air, but we thought the message was so important. Find your passion and go after it, right? Because that's going to be the most fulfilling thing you do in your life. Sorry, I had to add to that.
I couldn't agree more. You said it perfectly, and it's true. And I think the other thing that's true is that as you evolve as a human being and you grow and you mature, passions will change and things pivot. And so that's an important piece of it too. As you dig into the industry and you learn more, you might get passionate about something else. And
exactly.
And it's really cool to have that flexibility. It really is.
Yeah. I was passionate about doors and windows and budgeting and estimating and just being really good at my job. And now I'm passionate about, helping women-owned businesses grow. So Tammy's exactly right. And Angela, her passions have changed. She was running her dad's business for 3 different businesses for years. And her passions have changed as well along the way.
Well, I've always, though, wanted to see women
succeed,
move up, and I've always had women on my team underneath me, and but not just women, but men, just anyone who who does the job well. I mean, I've even hired people that didn't necessarily have that on there, didn't have a college degree, or didn't have that in their background, but if they knew what they were doing and we bonded, then they got hired.
Nice.
And it worked out, but so, and now we get to do this fun stuff and meet awesome people like you, Tammy.
Thank you. It's such an honor. It really is. I'm really, really excited about being here.
Well, right before we get off, because we're going to have Tammy share with our audience how to get in touch with her, I just wanted to make a quick note that, and this is a side note, that I'm wearing a Cover Gals shirt. Alicia Wood.
So cute.
I know. They're so soft, too, and it fits me. It actually fits.
I love it.
I'll get back a little bit so y'all can kind of see it. It has like a little pocket.
So if you're not on YouTube, Angela is actually modeling Cover Gals workwear.
Not very well.
From Alicia Woods. So look her up if you want to buy workwear that fits you well. Yeah. And Tammy's dog is really excited today, too. We've gotten to hear his little tail wagging on the back.
What kind of dog is he? Or she?
It's Bryce. He's a pit bull mix and sweetheart.
Oh, let's see him. Oh, look, he's so cute.
Yes, yes.
He
Oh,
is like,
Get
I've
down there.
he's
never
a
seen a
cutie
blind
pie.
one
He's
before.
beautiful and
He
he's a big
is.
baby. And there's certain voices that he likes, and I guess you all are one of them.
He's been excited the whole time we've had podcasts. So if you hear that in the background, that's his tail.
Anytime mom is trying to be professional, here comes Bryce. Oh, everybody in the company knows that Bryce is, Bryce comes in. So I
We love that.
apologize.
No, do not apologize. That's who you are, and
Unconditional
that's the
love.
real stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
not
glad
plan
he
that.
likes our voices.
Audience, I did not plan that.
It's okay.
He
I
wanted
think
his
it's
15
awesome.
minutes of fame.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bryce should get some fame. He's a cutie pie.
He is.
Thank you.
So, Tammy, why don't you share with our audience how they can get in touch with you? If they want to look into buying some Andersen windows and doors, or if they just want to reach out and get advice.
Sure. Well, again, thank you both for having me here. It's been an honor. You can reach me on Instagram at @tmurray_New Jersey. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Tammy Murray, TAMMYMURRAY. You also can reach me by email, tmurray@andersencorp.com. And I would love to connect you if you have questions about windows and doors. Either myself or my team would be happy to help you.
Well, I'm going to end this podcast with saying I have a favorite female CEO, president, owner of a company who just built these beautiful Wyland, huge glass doors in their house. And Tammy was a part of that installation. So I'm just going to leave that cliffhanger there. And you've got to go find out about Wyland doors and see if you can figure out who that female owner is that had those installed on her house. So thank you all for listening today. Thank you, Tammy, for your time, your wisdom, and just the passion that you have to help the workforce. We really appreciate everything that you do.
Absolutely. And thank you both for everything that you do to bring awareness to our industry. Thank you so much. Thank you.